Hi, Paul. Andrew, are you calling in under your CROA ID? Your CROA account?
Oh yeah, I guess I might. That's what I had on the phone. I got to pick up the kids at the bus stop, which I think they're going to be late. So I'll be on the phone to start.
No, that's okay. It just looks like you're not calling in under your CROA Teams account.
Yeah,
maybe you are.
I think it might be tied to my individual account, not my work account or the town hall account.
Oh, okay. Hi, Mike.
Hello. Hello. Not sure my microphone's working.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, Amber.
Hi, hey everyone.
Keep saying I'm muted, but it doesn't seem like I'm muted.
No, you're there. We can hear you.
So weird. Yeah, my screen says you are currently muted. Weird.
Sorry about that.
Is Grand Manners with us yet too, or?
Demetrius just joined, but we'll have Lauren as well.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi there. Demetrius, I'm in
Thanks.
Las Vegas. Are you here or no?
I'm in here. I'm here in Orlando. We just keep crisscrossing the country.
Of course.
Yes. I think Lauren is coming in soon.
Great.
Still off the phone with her, actually.
Andrew, you're in twice now.
I know I was trying to work my camera, but then it signed me out and then try not to mess with it. So I'll figure it out later.
I just texted Lauren, speed her up a little bit.
No worries. She's not late yet.
It's 2 o'clock. Or 5 o'clock. Oh, there she is.
Look at that. Right on the button.
time.
Sorry. I'm not late.
No, you're not.
Except time.
All right.
We are missing Eric, though.
Eric, yeah, we're missing Eric. He did accept the meeting invite.
Let me request him and see if we can bring him in.
There we go. All right. It is 5:01 p.m. and it is Monday, August 12th, 2024. And this is the Celebration Joint Committee Board of Directors meeting. I'm going to open it if there's any owners' comments. Don't see one. The meeting was properly noticed. And I will call the meeting to order. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Election of officers. We'll start with president and then I'll pass it off to the president to handle the remainder of the meeting. Is there anybody interested or who wants to nominate somebody to be president?
I'll nominate
Yeah.
Jared Wise.
I'll second it.
I accept that nomination.
With that, Jared, I will pass it to you.
Anyone would like to nominate themselves or someone else as vice president?
I'll nominate Mike Nunes for VP.
I'll second that.
Mike, are you interested in that?
I will accept that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Vice president. Anyone interested or nominations? I'm sorry, secretary.
I'll nominate Eric Oppengard.
I'll second that as well.
I'll accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And finally, I'll nominate Andrew Duganzik as treasurer.
I'll second that.
I'll accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, let's move on to the motion to approve the management company contract extension. This is, for brief discussion, an extension of the grand manager's contract from October 31st to December 31st, to allow more time for the contract review and negotiation. Open for discussion.
I'll motion to approve the management company contract extension to December 31st for negotiation of terms to include performance metrics and penalties.
I'll second that motion. So, a vote on motion to approve the extension. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's no opposed, so that passes. Motion to approve the vendor to repair the water tower. Lauren, can you give a brief history for everyone on this?
Yes, so the water tower underwent some repairs in early 2021. When we started in November 2021, we had an engineer take a look at the repairs that were done. They told us they were not done correctly or appropriately. We had gone through one iteration of bids to repair based on the engineer company's report. We did not find a vendor that we thought was capable of doing the work. So we are on our second round of bids. The scope of work was written by Karen's Engineering. Joe Tricano is on the call with us from Karen's. He's the one that's been managing this project. So they wrote the scope of work and issued the RFP, and they're the ones that put together that bid comparison spreadsheet for you. Joe, do you want to speak to the process?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Trocano with Karen's Engineering. Like Lauren said, we went out and did a condition survey of the water tower. We actually used one of the vendors that's on this list, the one that's titled the RLJ, which is RL James Incorporated. They're a statewide building restoration contractor that we regularly engage in some work with. So they provided us a lift and an operator. So we did the survey based on the field observations. We generated a project manual that we used to go out to bid. And to be completely honest, I was struggling to find bidders. A lot of the contractors that we are familiar with and that we are do work with, that I feel comfortable with bidding on the job, or were super busy. I was trying to drag guys over from the Tampa Bay area and drag some other guys over from the East Coast that we do work with out of our Daytona office. So I finally ended up getting 3 bids. They're shown there on that spreadsheet that Lauren said you guys have copies of. FCC, the first column, kind of in the pink or peach color, is Florida Certified Contractors. Their home office or headquarters is in St. Augustine. RL James is in the blue column. They have an office in Fort Myers, another office in Sarasota, and their office kind of for this job would be based out of DeLand. And then the last contractor in the yellow column, the J. James, stands for Jesse James Restoration, is a company made up of a few guys that used to work for a bigger company here in the Tampa Bay market. They've kind of broken out on their own due to some disagreements with the ownership of the company they were working for. That, from what they're telling me, they were supposed to be able to get some ownership percentages after a certain period of time. And the owner kind of changed the rules of the game, so they decided to try to venture out on their own.
Do you recommend them as a company? I mean, the numbers here are
Yeah.
drastically different.
Yes, staggering difference in the numbers. I've called the guys, I've called Jamie and Jesse, and have, without telling them, what the exact numbers are, that, they were significantly outside the mean on the pricing. And I also asked them, if the board chooses them, when they could start. So they're telling me that they're comfortable with their numbers. They've gone back to their welding subcontractor, and he's comfortable with the numbers he's provided them. And they said they could actually start like fourth quarter this year, October, November, till, beginning of November at the latest. I've called the other contractors with FCC and RL James. We've called them earlier today to try to get an idea of when they could start if they were selected to do the job. I haven't heard back from either of those companies today. I
Yeah,
can
this is
send,
Andrew. I guess my concern, just looking at it off the bat, is just item one, right? The main timber support replacement.
Mhm.
I don't think they're getting drastic pricing on timber. So is J. James not understanding the full scope of it, where FCC and RLJ are accounting for a larger section of the timber to be corrected?
Our plans had a pretty specific call out on which timbers and where the timbers are that needed to be replaced. So plus I, met with all these guys out there at the water tower and walked through the project manual and walked through the bid form and the scope of work with them. So um, they should all understand what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, Andrew, I see that too, but the delta is even higher between the first and the
Yeah.
second than it is the first and
I
the
think,
third.
I think RL James, the guy in the blue column, I think they were, so Seamus, the guy that has the contractor's license there, I personally think he was overthinking it, and he was overthinking what he was gonna need for shoring and scaffolding and, bracing off of other areas on the tower so he could replace, the rotten timbers. I don't, and I, tried to, like I said, I tried to talk all these guys through this a couple of different times during this whole process. So at a certain point, we just have to let them interpret it the way they're gonna interpret it and price it the way they are comfortable with. I can't obviously price it for them.
Sure.
But if you look at some of the line items, yeah, some of the numbers are like, relatively close together the way they priced it. And then some of the other numbers are, way outside, whatever you would think it would be. Like if
So,
you just like if you go down to like the number three, like to, replace all the deck boards, the FCC and RL James are, 21,000 and 18,700, which is, pretty close together. And, J James is at $7,000. I mean, it's a third of, what the other guys are.
so Joe, just so that we're understanding this correctly, these bids are all in accordance with following the engineering recommendation that you presented. So in theory, they're not necessarily making a determination on what actually has to be fixed or repaired. There may be differences in how they get to that end state, but at the end of the day, they're all trying to fix or repair in accordance with the engineering report that they're working off of. Is that fair, or am I
Yeah, no,
misunderstanding that?
that's 100% correct. They're all basing it off the project manual that we prepared, which included a detailed scope of work, a bid form that they all had to fill out the same forms, and the drawings that were included as part of that project manual. They all had the same document.
Okay. So knowing that, I guess I would be comfortable with making the motion to go with the J. James vendor. Well, I'll do that. I'll make the motion that we move forward with J. James as the preferred vendor for the project.
I'll second that motion, but can we have more discussion?
Absolutely.
Lauren, the contract for this, how does the contract look for this? The numbers are so disproportionate. I hate always bringing up liquidated damages or a bond, and honestly, a bond for this wouldn't even work because the most we would get back is $86,000, and double that is
Yeah.
still not what these other ones cost. So how is the contract looked for something like this from CJC?
So it's a similar one to the standard CROA services agreement. So we would utilize the updated one with either the liquidated damages or the bond piece.
Okay, so if we do that, yeah, I think we need something like that.
Something like that in there, just
cover us.
Yeah, and we have, excuse me, we have liquidated damages in our project manual also that, was used as the, bidding document. We have $250 a day in there for liquidated damages. I'm not sure what your standard contract has, but I know our project manual has liquidated damages in it also.
Yeah, I think we all just see that, if the water tower is down for even the 60 days, people are going to complain. So if it's not done within that period, we're going to start hearing, why can't anyone do anything right in this town?
Yeah. And Joe, as a follow-up to that question, it sounds like the J. James Group has done similar work to this in the past, maybe just not necessarily as the J. James entity, but the conglomerate of the folks that make that up have done work like this. Like, this won't be their first time doing work of this scope, correct?
Yeah, that would be correct. Yeah, I wouldn't have had them give you guys pricing on it if I didn't think they were able to do it. And, I don't think that they would have, hung themselves out to dry on something with them, just, diving into this, kind of in the early stages of their, independent career or their new venture.
Yep.
That,
Okay.
I don't think, at least I wouldn't anyways, like, dive into something and, gonna lose money on it when I'm, just trying to start something new. But yeah, the guys that, that are the owners of this newer company have been doing this kind of work for a long time.
Okay,
Okay.
well, are there any other questions or we can call for a vote?
Just one question for Lauren on this is, I think the last CJC financial statements I saw was about 45,000 in replacement. So are we doing 45,000 replacement and then the rest is coming from operating to cover the cost of the 86,000?
Yes, we would need to.
And then is there other items that need replacement that we are pretty much zeroing out that bucket for this
This
project?
is the only thing that CJC owns.
Okay, so then
So yeah.
zeroing it out isn't an issue.
No.
And Mike, you had something?
Again, we've already talked about it, but that's very alarming that one bid is, 30% of its competitors. I just want to make sure that they 100% understand the job and what they're bidding on, because like I said, that's 30% of their competition. And there's also, I don't see things that you would typically see in a breakdown like this, like, is there a crane needed? Is there, bucket trucks needed? I don't see a breakdown of that unless they have that as considered their mobilization or something like that. But
yeah, those, like a boom lift or
exactly,
that's kind of thing would be included in the general conditions in the mobilization.
So I think to Mike's point, though, the other piece that I expect that we may have a challenge with this on is in their unit rate for the tower timber removal and replacement is obviously much higher than the other two bids. So I guess the piece that I would question is if they're working off of the same engineering and the scope document, in theory, this should be the same. But this is a discussion, I guess, for everyone. Would we be expected that this is going to be hit with a huge change order, that we're going to be hit with more, timber removal, kind of cost, as we go through this?
Well, there may be like, when we get up there, because it's been it's been a little while since we did the original survey or the survey for this part this time around. The condition survey report was issued in June of 2022. So, we did the inspections on the tower in April of 2022. So, it's been 2+ years since we did our survey and inspection. So there may be some additional wood rot that has to get addressed. I would recommend just, if we discover, another piece of timber that's rotted out and if it can't be repaired, needs to be replaced, that, you consider, 10 or 15% contingency on top of that $86,350, just so, you're able to have the funds for some kind of a hidden condition or unforeseen condition. I mean,
Yeah, 10% of theirs is.
It's a big wooden billboard that, is exposed to the wind and the weather, and, with all those steel plates where they, bolt into the ends of all those pieces of timber, that, it makes those specific areas of it susceptible to water damage.
Lauren, who is going to project manage this from Grand Manor's side, or is Karen's going to be retained to do that? Or
Karen's is doing the project management for it as well, and then Joe would be in contact with Jacob and I for the duration of the project.
Okay.
Yeah, Karen's was hired to write the scope and PM this to make sure it's done correctly.
Mike, I think we all agree with you. I know that Eric and I do based on the questions, but at this point, we just have to hope that they covered it. I think that they covered it and that it's within scope and that we hold them to the contract to perform. I'm not sure what else to do other than to take a gamble for another $100,000.
The other question that I would have in this too, and I assumed that we looked at this, but how much does it cost to just rebuild the damn thing?
That I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's something that we've not, priced out or, performed that task for you either.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second, so I will call the vote on proceeding with Jay James on this. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, moving on. I-4 expansion FDOT documentation. Lauren, back to you.
Yes.
Can I interrupt quickly?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Joe.
I have to be at another meeting at 6:30. That's going to take me about an hour to get to that. Are you done with what you need from me for tonight?
Yes, Joe. Thank you. You can sign off. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you guys soon. And I'll let these guys know of the vote, and I will ask them to get me copies of their certificate of insurance and their license and stuff, and I'll forward that on to you, Lauren.
Perfect. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Have
Joe.
a great night, guys. See you.
All right, so I-4 expansion, the FDOT documentation. FDOT is expanding I-4 in the Kissimmee Celebration area. There are some parcels of land that could potentially be subjected to the CJC and Kanoa governing documents. At this time, there's no plan to include them under the CJC and Kanoa documents, and it's really not land that is very developable or desirable based on the location. So FDOT's just dotting their i's and crossing their t's that they will have an easement on these portions of land as part of this expansion.
Has this document been reviewed by the attorney?
Yeah,
And they have no issues?
no issues at all.
I'll make a motion to proceed with the agreement.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Then we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Well, no, we all said aye. So there we go. Discussion topic, the CJC cost sharing agreement. What are we
So
to discuss?
I put this on there just to kick off the conversation because the CJC cost sharing agreement expires in October 31 of this year. So we need to, Kanoa and CROA both need to renegotiate that agreement, or it reverts back to your governing documents.
Anyone have opinions or thoughts on this?
No, at the
I'm-
meeting that we just got done with, this topic was brought up, and we're going to schedule a meeting, hopefully a joint meeting with you guys to go over the cost sharing agreement and what the plan is moving forward.
So shall we table this for that future meeting? It's
Yeah.
discussion, so we don't even really have to have any action here.
Correct.
Okay, well, that works. We'll just have further conversations between all parties and at a later date.
I just want to make sure it was on everybody's radar so it didn't get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, we can leave this on as old business for the next time to make sure that we're talking about it.
Mhm.
I don't know when that next meeting is. It'll still be this year, obviously.
Yeah, so normally the CJC and Kanoa meetings are quarterly, the third Tuesday of the second month of the quarter. Obviously, we need to have another meeting in September and possibly October to talk budgets and this cost sharing agreement. And then we can revert back to our old schedule or a new schedule if you guys decide you want to change what the meeting cadence is.
Okay, that works well. So we'll look
just
to
for-
get that joint meeting done before September, before end of September at least.
Mhm.
Andrew?
Yeah, I was just gonna add, I think it's appropriate that for that meeting, we schedule that for probably the first week in September. So for Mike and Amber, just some knowledge, we're currently doing a management task force within CROA to look at appropriate contracts with Grand Manors. I know we did the 2-month extension for this year just to get on the calendar year, but we are going to be in negotiations with Grand Manors on what a formal renewal looks like. So that's something where we're looking to get our task force completed in August and see what their findings are to then partner with your thoughts on what you might be looking for or any improvements from Grand Manors on the Kanoa side. So I think it's appropriate that when we have more information from our task force, you have additional time to think about what you would like in a future renewal with Grand Manors. Then we come together and then we would engage Grand Manors in what our asks are for that new contract.
Any discussion from anyone on the group? Then with that, I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll
I'll
second.
second. Oh,
All in favor?
Mike beat me.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.